Hey everybody, Dominic Esposito. Thanks and welcome to the Drill Instructors Clinic. Tonight I want to say thanks to our sponsors, Perimeter Lighting. Look at how beautiful those are. I hope you can see them from there. And of course, Diamond Billiard Products, #1 table in the billiard industry. And to all of you fans, friends, of course, all the dealers and everybody that promotes the Drill Instructor. And I want to say welcome to the show tonight. Now tonight, like last week, tonight is going to be part 2 of how to control cue ball speed and position control. But tonight what we're going to do specifically is we're going to get into understanding how does speed control change and the transfer of energy, and how does this change when you are adding side spin. So I always encourage you to work with the center 7 axis. The center 7s, you got center, 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 below, and that's 80%. 8 out of every 10 shots you need to take, or that you take, do not need anything other than somewhere up or down the center 7 axis of the cue ball. So that's 80% of the time. Now, 15% of the time, so from 80 to 95%, you don't need to go more than 1 tip outside. Then maybe, could be as much as 12% of the time. Excuse me, I think I'm saying that wrong. 80 takes you to about 90, 92% of the time. You only need up to 1 tip. So that's only about 12% of the time. And then 2 tips only takes about 5% of the time. And then 3 tips of English is barely ever 2 to 3% of your shots. So it's real key that you understand if you're just always constantly letting the cue ball spin left and right because you're just addicted to doing that, you don't really have control. You just think that's what works because that's what you've become comfortable with. But every time you get off the center 7 axis of the cue ball, you complicate the shot. In other words, let me define complicate the shot. You increase the chances you're just going to miss. Really. So I want to show you a little bit about that tonight. And at the end of the show, I'm going to announce the winners, okay? And so you kind of hang in there because I want to teach you first, but I'm going to announce the winners, and this gives everybody a chance to get on, because some people were writing me telling me, hey, I'm going to be a little late, I don't get off of work until 5:30, blah, blah, blah. So, end of the program. Okay, let's get into it, okay? And tonight, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of extra time, but I'm going to really get right down to the meat and gravy of this, because last week, if you go back to part 1, I explained the whole speed control and the cue ball position control, quantified the mathematics of how that works, okay? Tonight, I'm just going to blast off into, I'll cover that, just a quick recap for some of you, but I want to get into the real part I want you to understand. Okay, so I'm going to get over here. Let me see how's it looking tonight? Does everybody see me? You can hear me? Good, looks like we're okay. So one more time, just for a recap for those of you who are new to the channel, I want to thank you so much. And most of you know, and also, we have this whole thing on YouTube as well, okay? I'm not smart enough to know how to do Facebook and YouTube at the same time, but Kat gets it on YouTube pretty quick right after the show. So when you shoot from this line, basically put a cue ball, just up on the rail to get started. If you get into this range, this is a 1-speed shot stroke. Then from here into the cushion and out, this is a 2-speed shot stroke. Then coming back to the center of the table, this is a 3-speed shot stroke. And then from here into the cushion and back out, that's a 4. So like when you're lagging for the break, I'll be glad to tell you, when I'm going to play in a match, if I'm lagging for the break and everybody grabs their cue ball and right away they put it up there, I put mine here because that's where I work all of my speed control. And I rarely lose the break, okay? I'm usually always well within a ball, so that's what you're looking for. Then go to a 5-speed shot stroke that brings you back out to the table. So a 4-speed is like lagging to win the break, a 5-speed's coming back out to the middle, a 6 is at the top, and then this becomes a 7, And then over here, this is your 8 speed. So up and down the table twice is 8. 9 speed right here. So 1, 2, and 3 are your slower speeds. 4, 5, and 6 are your medium speeds. 7, 8, and 9 are your hard speeds. Now, when you get up here to a 10-speed shot stroke, that's 19 miles an hour. So if you want to test, how fast can you don't need a radar gun. I mean, that's fine, but all you got to do is just do my speed tests and you're going to find out. Now, that's if you're on a diamond, okay? If you're on a diamond table with real, true, honest Artemis cushion rails and the stuff that's really the quality that you want. But other than that, like if you're on certain other kind of tables like a valley, you can never hit more than an 8 and +1. Right, it comes right out to the middle of the table. It doesn't matter how hard you can ever hit it on a valley table. Just the way it's engineered, you can't go up and down the table 5 times. You can only go 4 and 2 diamonds. That's it. So if you're getting to that point right there, because the cushions compress too much and they smash into the wood of the rail, and that's all there is to it. So this gives you that information. Now, once you have mastered your cue ball speed control, and that is where you can make those a minimum of 3 out of 5 balls land in the zone, then you can move on to the next speed. That's how you perfect that speed control. So for those of you who are wondering, what's he talking about? What's he talking about? So if you were to line up 5 cue balls, 1 in the middle, 1 on this diamond, 1 on this diamond, put 1 here on this diamond, and then go ahead and put 1 over here on this diamond. There's 5. You get at least 3 out of the 5 in the speed zone, or do it over again. Now, when you're going to test shots and you're learning shots, always come back and practice the speed control so you're in there. Now, tonight, this particular, as I'm going to move now, I'm moving into, but what happens if I start applying English to the cue ball? So what I'm going to teach you tonight is we're just going to work with a 2-speed shot stroke just in order for you to understand the mathematics, and after that you can use it to any speed. So when you're down here, notice my pre-stroke. When you're in training, pre-stroke equals shot stroke. And the reason for that is because when you're looking at that, and then you just got that thing to move straight through, make a real full stroke out of it, okay? Come back down, set up. Now, let's begin. Pre-stroke equals shot stroke. And there you go. Stay down, stay with it. And there's a 2-speed. It stayed in the zone. Let's do one more. This is my chance to warm up game, okay? Here we go. And there's a 2-speed shot stroke. That one's going to be even a little better. And if I shoot another one, it's probably just going to stop on the rail. So, as you work on whatever speed, on whatever shot you're going to be developing, then you're going to go ahead and use those speed controls as an exercise to what you're trying to do. Okay. I may need to use that again, so I'll just leave these set here. So, let's go ahead and take the cue ball, and we'll just start from 1 diamond in and 1 diamond up so we could measure. Now, on my table here, yes, I'm on a 10-foot Bigfoot, but whether you're on a 7, an 8, an oversized 8, a 9, a 10, or a 12-footer, it doesn't matter. Speed zones are precisely the same speed zones, and you calibrate your shot speed to the size of that table so you could dial in your speed. That's how you quantify speed on any single table, okay? So, it just so happens in my case here, if you take this cue, this of course is one of my prototypes, the brand new, I'm not telling you the name yet because we're not selling, but we're getting ready to start production. But this is the new jump cue. But notice that baby right there. When it's in full length, okay, right now, yeah, I'm a little bit over there. I'm about 58 inches, okay? But realistically, this is the length of a shot speed for this table, That's all I want to say for now. So I'm going to use this as my prop, okay? So if I'm going to use a 2-speed shot stroke, and I just showed you what that is, from here to here, and I bounce it out a little, that gives me the full size of this cue, and it's going to give me from here to here, boom, there's a 2-speed. There's the range of 2-speed. So whatever table you're playing on, you can adjust that. So if I'm going to shoot into this diamond right here, so there I am, leveled up to that. Here's the cushion. From this part of the cushion, turn it out, boom. So there is the distance of a 1-speed. Remember last week, now go over last week's class in much more detail, pay attention, because last week I was explaining to you how you need to measure cue ball speed, and then you will measure cue ball accuracy for position, stopping that cue ball where you want it to stop. So from here it's a 1, and I'm going to shoot with a 2-speed. Now, a 2-speed should realistically, from this point here, coming angle in is angle out, realistically, a 2-speed lands here. So let's put cue ball here, right? So what does that teach you? Well, that's where a 2 should be. This cue ball right here represents the cushion absorbs 40 to 50%, depending on the quality of the cushion, depending on how new the cloth is. So there's a little bit of slide or there's not, but look at the distance from here to here, okay? That is going to take me a full shot speed, and I'm losing, because these are really high quality cushions and absolutely beautiful cloth, that's about 40%, 30 or 40% broke in right now. So I'm still getting a little slide, but at this point, I'm getting right there. I've technically lost the distance of about 40%. So in round numbers, just say 50%. You lose 50% of the energy shooting into a cushion. So I'm going to show you that so that you can see what I'm talking about, okay? So if I'm going to shoot from here, once again, I'm going to use, and you're going to get a chance to see the actual shot speed. So here's the 2-speed from here. There's the pre-stroke. I just need to look at my pre-stroke, and I can tell pre-stroke equals shot stroke. So I should just make that 2-speed zone down there. Perfect, okay? So I come up short so that all you players with 9-foot tables, right, my table's 112 inches. Great. You guys, ladies and gentlemen, you with 9-footers, you have 100 inches. So what I did is I just cut it off to give you, I'd be right on the cushion if I were on the 9-footer. Okay? Good. So now you got over that telling me I don't have a 10-foot table. Now, if I shoot that exact same shot from here, here's the same shot, no spin whatsoever. Here's my 2-speed. Oh, the cushion just absorbed. Watch, watch. There it is. And there's my spot where this ball was. You see? So I'm pretty good with speed control, so just get over it. Here's the key. You need to get that good with speed control. So everything dials in. You can just see the speed of your pre-stroke, and you can look at you and go, oh, that's a 4-speed. You can I can just look at your stroke, and I can tell you how hard you're going to hit that cue ball. You need to be able to do that same thing, and you're only going to get there by working on your 3 out of 5 in a speed zone and focus on that cue speed before you hit that ball and go right through it as if you didn't stop. Like if you're doing this, and if a gate opens, you just keep going through. Don't accelerate, don't decelerate, just go right through the ball. The tip of the stick touches the ball 1/10,000th of a second. So you're not going to push it unless you poor stroke because you decelerated, then you accelerated right in the last inch. That's what causes that. So in this case, what you're doing is just boing, boing, it's gone before you even continue stroking through. And the faster you pre-stroke, once you hit that ball, it's gone just as fast. Now, there is the cushion absorbing approximately 40%. Each cushion is really going to take the equivalent of, notice the difference between what would have been a full 2-speed distance versus the cushion absorbed the distance. Well, just take a look at that. My shaft on my table is the equivalent of a half a speed. So if I were going to take that and look at it from the top to the top, look, it took off 1/3. Let's say it took off 35%. So 40% is an even number. Just think 40%. Each cushion is going to suck off 1/3 of the energy just rolling into it with no spin. Now, if we start from the same spot, if I use one tip of English, that's where the ball's going to go to. Not only has the cue ball path changed, but look at the amount of extra distance. With one tip of English, I make up the whole third that I lost from the diamond. So if you're actually designing to, whether it's on a defensive shot or an offensive shot, and you're trying to get into that position for that cue ball, this is what you need to remember. If you go into that cushion with no side spin whatsoever, center access, you're going to lose 1/3. Now, that said, if you put 2 tips of English, this is where 2 tips of English comes to. So let me try to show you that. Let's go with 1 tip, okay? So I'm here, 1 tip of English. There's my 2-speed pre-stroke. Let's take the shot. I did hit that way too soft. Sorry about that. Let's do it again. There you go. We'll set. 1 tip. 2-speed shot stroke. Oh, I hit that a little hard. But you can see where I'm going. Right at it. Because that's my number 2. It's right there. Okay? So that's the mark. And then, if you're going to go with the 3-speed, 2-speed with 3 tips of English. Now, remember, when you go with 3 tips of English, never use an open bridge. You really have to maximize the density of the shaft. So anytime you're going to apply, well, 2 tips, you're toying with depending on what your shot speed is. If you're going to hit the ball with a 5-speed shot stroke or higher, you really should close the bridge. A 4-speed, you could get away with an open bridge with 2 tips of English. But once you go to 3 tips, there's absolutely no conversation about it. You lock that bridge down and shorten it because you do not want any whippy of the shaft, because what it does is it dissipates when it hits the cue ball. It doesn't have the punch through the cue with the same inertia that you're actually stroking with. And that's why most players, they can never figure out how to really, effectively use 2 and 3 tips of English with any real success, especially you rail shooters. If you're over here and you're like this on the rail and you're going to put 2 tips of English, if you're putting any heat on that ball at all, heat related to a 5-speed or more, you rather got to shut that bridge down and get that hand down over the top of it. Lock the thumb into the side, bring the 2 over the top. There's no moving whatsoever. And if it's 3 tips of English, you lock that shaft down so it can't even breathe. And shorten it up so it looks like this. You bring it in tight. Watch how much English I put on this. 3 tips. You see that move? That's huge. But there's my 2-speed shot stroke. If I didn't lock this bridge down, this cue ball would not have any bounce off that rail. Look at how hot that thing came off the rail. I hit that with a soft 2, which would have been from here to here. Technically, we call that a 2 minus 1, okay? But if I were to take this and put the same shot speed, if I use the same shot speed with 3 tips of English for a 2-speed, watch this. Okay, there's 3 tips of English on that. You see the cue ball is actually backing off because when you're hitting that far to the side of the cue ball, you technically have to hit this with what's probably at least a 2-1, 2-2 to make that work. I have some of you going, what's he talking about? Well, when you get really advanced at this is a 2, this is a 2-1, this is a 2-2. And every shot speed zone has the same. This would be, let's say, boom, 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 5 speed. This would be a 5.1, 5.2. This would be a 5 minus 1, 5 minus 2. That's when we're getting to the really advanced level of speed control, position control, and you need to know how to get there. I threw that in so you can understand. This is not just fluff and puff. This is really technical stuff if you want to get any good at this. So now watch what happens. I'm going to use a 3-speed shot stroke, okay? Here it comes. See this? Coming off. 1, 1.5. And that is not as good as I wanted to show you, because then you're going to miss my point. Let's go back to the 3-speed. I bored that thing down. That's what I said. I had 3 tips of English on. So here's my 3-speed. Okay, should come right to the middle of the table. Okay, so there's my 3-speed shot stroke. Now, watch what happens with that exact same speed, adding 3 tips of English. Let me just freshen up my chalk a little bit, just in case you really. And by the way, when you're going to use 3 tips of English, pack the tip the same way you pack the tip when you're going to use a jump cue. Always chalk from the outside to the middle. That packs it on top. When you shoot from the middle to the outside, basically you're just rubbing it off, okay? So pack it from the middle in, or from the outside into the middle. Watch the speed I hit this with. Here we go, 3 full tips. But again, there's my 3-speed. You see the rhythm? Watch. Whoa, that was way outside. Okay, let's do it again. And that's where the density comes in too. Here we go. Okay, that's 3. Here we go. I like that rhythm. Look at that. That's 3 full tips. I wish I had the other ball. You'd see the side spinning. You see, it made it all the way to the other end, but when I hit it with center ball, that's when it came all the way back to the middle. So when you're going to use this exact same speed from here, and you're going to add 3 tips of English, here we go, lock it down, boom. There's that same pre-stroke I was using that I knew was going to make it to the other end with 3 tips. So I have to make some compensation for the fact that hitting the side of the cue ball, you're going to lose some of that inertia into the center of the cue ball. And here it goes. Oh boy, that was way off the edge, okay? All that waiting. Here we go. One more time. Same speed. Let's release it. Look at how that thing fires off the rail. Look at where it's going. Look at it go. Look at it go. You see? It's going right down where I told you it was going to head to. Okay, all that to say, now if you're going to shoot a shot and you need a half ball hit, let's just talk about what we did last week. If you were to set up that same exact half ball hit and you're going to use that 4-speed to get the position to come down to the result of a 2-speed, but you're going to add 1 tip of English outside, well, what you've done is you've actually transitioned into the object ball, a half ball hit, but you pick up a 1/3 more distance. And so you have to factor that in. If I was going to use a 4-speed shot stroke in order to get a 2-speed finished position, but I got to go, wait a minute, I picked up a 1/3. What's a 1/3 more of a 4? Well, a 1/3, a 1/3, and a 1/3, that's 1 more shot speed plus a 1/3. I'm going to take that down to technically a 2.2, or really it's going to be just under a 3-speed shot stroke. And then I'm going to get the result of what if I used a 4-speed at center 7. So these are the calculations, and this is how it works. So set up simple shots like we did last week. Go back through last week's class. I don't want to get all over it again. Look at, and on whatever size table you're on, it doesn't matter. Calculate, use yardsticks, use a tape measure. Get a string and just cut it the length of whatever your distance is on your table. Is it 40? Is it 45 inches? Is it is it 50 inches? Is it 56 inches? What do you have? That's 8, 9, and 10 right there. Okay. If it's the length of the table on a 7-footer, I forgot what that is. That's 70 inches. So half of 70 would be 35. So you got 35 inches there. Okay, so 35 and then all the rest, as I said. You add 1 tip of English, anticipate to add 1/3 more travel on the cue ball. If you're going to use 2 tips of English, you're going to get, look, check it out. You're going to get 2/3 more. You're going to pick up another 1 point of the diamond. This is why I said, if this is a 1, this is a 1 plus a plus 1. This would be a 1 plus 2. Well, I went from I lost a third, so I added a tip of English, and I picked up a plus 1, which actually got me to the distance of what a 2-speed would be at. So I needed that extra third to equal the full length because of what the cushion absorbs. Then, if I go to 2 tips of English, it's going to add a third or 1 tick in the entire, so you go from a 1 to a 1 plus, a 2 plus, then you got to remember, oh, I'm going to be adding a 1 plus to that. And there's your length. And then you're going to get the same thing with 3 tips. 3 tips is going to add a plus 2 to what would have been the distant length of what is the actual full length of your 2-speed in this example. Now you got to go back over that and get that, because I'm trying to rush through to say that, but this is precisely how you're going to add that. And a lot of you asked me, and thank you, by the way, we had thousands and thousands of people on last week's show, and that's really exciting. But I got tons of mail saying, hey, yeah, but what if I add English? Hey, yeah, but what if I inside English, outside English? Oh, yeah, and inside English. You know what? You figure that one out. I'm not going to tell you, okay? But I'll give you a hint, okay? It does cut it. Okay, anyway, said that. So let's talk about the winners, okay? I'm really excited about this. Okay, so if I call your name, and I wait until the end of the show, okay? If I call your name, you have got to text me, YouTube me, WhatsApp me, whatever it is you guys, ladies, are using. And so many of you sent in so many, but I have to tell you that these particular names that I'm going to yell out, thank you for the multiple submissions every week. I mean, you were like, great shot. Okay, Rico Vasquez, okay? Rico, great shots, buddy, okay? The awesome drill on the breakouts. Those of you, I hope you go check out Rico's, he created a drill for how to practice breakout shots. And most of the pool players, they really just don't have enough cue ball speed track control that they know. If you got to break up a cluster, you know you're going to hit that shot path. And that was really brilliant, Rico. Thanks for doing that. And I love, hey, he created a game called, 14-1 straight pool. Well, he does it with 9 balls. He calls it 9.1. Okay, so it's not 14-1, it's 9-1. And you play a short rack, and you just play straight pool with short racks. That was a brilliant idea, okay? And then, okay, there were so many other things. Okay, David Franklin, okay? David Franklin, way to go, buddy. Great drills, okay? And that 3-rail kick that you were hooked in the corner and all, that was clever. Yeah. I've actually taught that once on a clip. But brilliant, that was awesome, and you set it up really, really well. Okay, Rick Prince. Rick, how are you, buddy? Good. Rick, great stuff, great runouts, okay? If you want to see the most incredible kicks and, Rick, you know, I could almost name you gonna be a magician, okay? Instead of effort is the magician. You're gonna be a magician. Some of those shots you pulled off were insane, but you really need to slow down how hard you hit the ball. You do overstroke the ball way too many times, okay? The good news is, though, you play on valleys, and those are like shooting on buckets, so that really helped you a lot. But they were still very good, and I was really thrilled with that. But you know what? You also need to hang out somewhere or cut the volume on some of the stuff you got going on in the background was like a little bit hard. But anyway, so Rico Vasquez, David Franklin, Rick Prince, okay, we got some more, okay, Tom Morisi, Tom, great drills, one right after the other. Those were so entertaining. I really, really had a lot of fun watching those. And listen, all 3 of these players, I'm going to tell you right now, they submitted every single week, and their stuff was just crushing it. every single time. So I'm telling you in advance, Rico, you got a signed cue ball coming with a rack, with a t-shirt. David Franklin, same thing. Every single week, you like, boom, right to the top of the list. It was so good. So you're getting all three. Prince, you're getting all three. Tom, Maurice. So listen, everybody, you have got to mail me, okay? I'm going to pay for the postage for this to send it to you, okay? I want to do that, okay? So you got to send me your full, complete, proper mailing address, okay? Zip code, spell the street out, text it, make sure you don't have any typos, and then make sure I get that. And then Roseanne Ramirez on the snap. Listen, the rest of you, I want to just tell you right now, aim straight, shoot straight, split the pockets. This was so fun. Say thank you so much to Diamond Billiard Products, the #1 pool table in pool. Everybody else is chasing them to want to be like them, just like everybody else wants to be like Simonis. Just play on Simonis if you want the best cloth out there. If you want, just get the best aramid balls out there. If don't play on something that's almost like, play on the real thing and get the real thing. You get what you pay for. Same thing you do, like if you want to come to me for some one-on-one instruction, you're going to get what you pay for, because I will still confess to most of you, I'm probably one of the most expensive teachers, real teachers, okay? I'm not going to bash anybody, but I'm just going to say, if you want somebody that this is what I really do for a living for you, this is it. This is my part-time gig. Okay, I love you guys. Aim straight, shoot straight, split the pockets. That's the drill instructor way. And thank you so much for that month of July being so fun to just celebrate this incredible facility now. The way this, you know, maybe at some point I'm going to sneak you into the other rooms and show you the fitness therapy room #1, the fitness therapy room #2, the things that are going on here, the access to what we have. And when you come here for real training, I just got a guy who just signed up with me for the month of September and the month of October. He literally booked me for 2 full months. I'm just thrilled about that. I can't wait for that to happen, okay? And the rest of you, do the same for yourself. All right, I love you, and can't wait to see you next week with a brand new show. Bye-bye.